what did you make of Matheson's polemic with Buttstett? They were arguing back and forth about,
Yeah.
solmization, and no, we don't need that. We just have major and minor now. So, what did you make of that?
It's just a complete clash of worldviews. It's Buttstedt is still stuck back in that Renaissance modal paradigm. So if we look at it through the lens of my threefold model, Buttstedt is saying solmization, vocal orientation, and contrapuntal generation. So what generates music is contrapuntal imitation, and that contrapuntal imitation is governed by oud re mi, has to be answered by oud re mi. Okay, so the solmization governs the rules of contrapuntal imitation, and everything comes down to that. And also for Buttstedt, canon is also generative. The most important generative principles are imitation. We have the vocal polyphonic complex. We've got solmization as the basis of generating the musical texture. That's the second layer there that Buttstedt is operating within. Mattheson is just like, no, we don't need the old modes of plaintive anymore. What's generative is basso continuo. Everything comes out of the bass. Melody arises from the bass, and the bass is figured how? Through the keyboard. The keyboard is instrument of reference. And that is the generative basis of music. So Buttstedt, you're just an idiot. And so it's a clash of an older worldview with a modern worldview. Of course, Mattheson is such a good writer that it's highly entertaining. Highly entertaining reading. But that really gets to the crux of it right there.
I like Buttstedt. That's
You like Buttstedt? Well,
I like Buttstedt.
I feel a lot of sympathy for him as I do also for he also, Matteson was had such a sharp pen. He also really takes aim at Murschauser. Murschauser, as a theorist, I absolutely love. He was the organist at the Church of Unser Frau in Munich, big church, wrote some really important treatises, including on the psalm tones. Fantastic composer. But he was like, he's in the early 18th century. So there's still 12 modes. And then he has to transpose the whole system. Belief in the 12-mode system is very strong. It is still the norm. Bach's predecessor, Kuhnau, in Leipzig, his immediate predecessor, has a beautiful manuscript treatise for the choir boys at the Thomasschule of the 12 modes. Fuchs, Gradus et Parnassum, 12 modes, although he cheats a little and says, there's really 6 because of the polyphonic complex. We really have C, D, E, F, G, and A. So his modal examples are, conflate authentic and plagal. And then you've got, so there he is. I absolutely love Fuchs. Ninth
I love him too.
Yeah, I am a weird kid because when I was in 9th grade, my best friend's grandfather passed away. He had this big record collection. I inherited from my friend's grandfather a collection of orchestral music, orchestral suites and concerti by Fuchs. And I read about Fuchs as a 9th grader. I'm like, yeah, Fuchs is this great, composer at the Imperial Court. Oh, he also wrote this treatise. Well, I get to grad school. I learned about Gradus et Parnassum then as a high school student. And then I get to graduate school, and I had the privilege of being assigned to work closely with Alfred Mann, who was the foremost expert.
Oh, yeah.
So Alfred Mann was my very dear mentor. He was Carrie Snyder. Yeah, that book. So I did an independent study, a couple of independent studies with Alfred on fugue. As I mentioned, I'm quite a counterpoint nerd. So so I worked on that with Fuchs. So
Matteson went. Yeah, Matteson went. He went in with Fuchs as well. He had arguing with this great man.
So Somber in Salzburg, Murschauser in Munich, Fuchs in Vienna. Of course, notice they're all Southern. They're all, but Kuhnau also in Leipzig. They're all 12-mode theorists in the first decade of the 18th century. And Matteson is like, no, this is garbage. So in Orchestra by Matteson, which is 1713, Matteson still doesn't have a scheme. He's got 24. He's like, yeah, we can have 24 major minor keys, but how do we organize them? So he starts with the church tones, the 8 church tones of Banchieri. Then or really by this point is Bononcini and Penna. Then he transposes them, and then he transposes them again. But it doesn't really make that much sense. And then he encounters Heineken's
Hmm.
ordering it. Like, this makes so much more sense. So then Mattheson further develops the 12 mode, or rather the circle of fifths, along with super